Have you been to California, seen the sights and people there?
On the 7th day of Christmas, Jeff Bezos brought to me a multi-function cable tester for the RV. Wow, that's a mouthful. Actually, I don't want a multi-function cable tester, which is what this elegant, or is it Elegiant, I guess. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it. But anyway, it's meant to be a cable tester for your RJ11, excuse me, and RJ45, whatever those numbers mean, right? So the RJ11, that's what we use for our homes, you know, for our, remember in the old days when we used to have a plain old telephone service, a POTS line? Yeah, that was for the AT&T telephone service. And the RJ45, that's these days when we have our internet. That's the Ethernet type connector. So you can use that to do testing of all the signals for opens and grounds and everything, but that's not what I want. I want to do cable sniffing. Because up on the roof, when I'm going to be drilling holes, I'd prefer not to go through the air conditioning 110 volts. So here's the two devices, and one is the transmitter. It goes into a scan cycle of what we're doing, which says send out an audible signal, which I'll show you in a second. And this is the receiver, which is where we do the sniffing with in our case. So it has a convenient little cable that gets plugged into the jack, and I guess we'll just use the one for the RJ11 input. And it has a ground and a positive. As I'll show later, we only want to use the one connector for the hot. If you have the hot and the ground and the other side of the circuit is terminated in like a motor or something, it'll probably just mostly short out most of the signals. So we're going to connect it and I'll show you the next step. So come on over here and we're going to go ahead and just take a plain old power cord, and I'm going to put the alligator clip just on one side and I'm going to turn it to the scan position, which says start sending the signal out. And on the receiver, we're going to turn it on. It has a nice little button here for if you want have a little light on it, but here's the button we're going to be hitting. As we get closer, boom! So we're going to follow a circuit and see how it would work on the roof. Remember now, we're going to be having under a membrane is where we're drilling, hopefully not going to hit any wires. So we're going to check that out, and here we go. Lost the signal. Oh, there it is. Come a little closer. Hear it. What's going on? Right here. Don't want to drill in this area. Right here. Looks like it's coming this way.
Pretty cool. So I
lost it.
So I'm expecting no mistakes then.
It's coming this way. And voila!
Dun, dun, dun.
So this is what we do. It has a button on here for doing the scan, which is what we want it to do. And you want to turn the volume up all the way, probably. But let's say that you are in an environment where you'd be bugging people in the central office if you're using it for a business environment. Or it's loud noises like I had some issues where you find like there's planes going by. It does actually have some earphones, so you can plug it into the earphone jack and like, aha!
Wow, pretty cool.
Or maybe you want to be secret. Shh, shh, shh. And what else does it have? It has a manual.
When all else fails?
Manuals, right. We'd rather watch YouTube videos like this, right? And here is the rest of the cable tester. So if you want to do a complete cable testing, not table, cable testing, you can use this and you can find out more how to use that. But I'm not going to use it, I don't think, very much for internet or telephone service, but I can see a lot of uses around the RV. So if you have where you want to do some drilling and you want to sniff out first to make sure that there's no wires that you're going to be hitting, like the air conditioning up on the roof, or maybe you've got like on your engine, you know, where you've got like a wire for, let's say, your stereo and it's not working anymore. and you want to trace the wire for the audio cables, you can sniff it out too. So basically what you do is you get the cable tester, and if you can open up the circuit, if it's maybe grounded or connected to something, and just take the one lead, hook it up to whatever the circuit is you want, put it in the scan position, and you're good to go. Okay, so I'm going to go over and show you how it's actually used up on the RV on our air conditioning to the roof, where the cables go, hopefully, deep enough or far enough away from the unistress where we're going to put the solar panels. So we'll see you upstairs. Well, okay, before we start this project, we're going to want to turn off the power. So let's go ahead and get that off. Check. No power. We have no need for power. Nada. And going into the RV, and this is our circuit breaker panel, and you've got some DC and some AC and main, general purpose, microwave, portable appliances, air conditioner. That's the one we have to worry about when we're doing some drilling up on the roof right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, number 5 position. We're going to want to put a signal injector on circuit number 5. So we're going to have to take that screw off, and with both hands on it, off it comes. And so here's our circuit. So we're interested in this circuit number 1. And let's see, there's our hot leads are black. And so we're going to want to be injecting a signal into this bad boy here. Well, okay, you may ask yourself which side of the switch matters here. And you can see over here is the bus bar. That's where the 117 volts AC would be going across to everything. And then when each of these trip, or you shut them off, it disconnects the power, so the power is going in that direction. We have a wire coming out here, so we can want to connect into this wire right there. Either clip onto it or put an alligator clip on, however we do that. So that's the next step. Okay, so we have the connection to our distribution panel, the circuit breaker box, and on the circuit that we have for the air conditioning, we now are in the scan position. And on here, we're going to go ahead and hit the scan button. Ah! So we have our ability to start sniffing, so we're going to go up on the roof and see if we can do a little bit more sniffing. Okay, so with the refrigerator vent being here, the distribution panel being there, I think I've got just a little bit here. It's weak. I don't know if you can hear it, but this is where it's at. So let's turn it around, and it looks like it could be going this way, up. Okay. Okay. There it is. Looks like it's coming from this direction, which I don't need to really mark, but kind of coming from the distribution box over here, coming up this way. Now I'm going to be putting the U-struts right around here and right around there. So this is kind of getting towards my area of interest or concern. Yep, there it is. So right in about this area here, from about here to about there, I'm going to want to try to avoid that. Can you hear it? So why it kind of stops here, right around by my strut, and doesn't show it going on to the air conditioner, it must be just deep enough that I don't have to worry about it. Famous last words, right? Okay, so I guess what I'm discovering is that if I'm going to put my strut about here, this would be the area that I would have to mostly be worried about. So I'll do another check tomorrow. We're going to measure twice and cut once, or drill once. Oh, I guess there's one other thing I might add that I discovered, and that is that if you leave the ground disconnected, you're going to get a lot stronger signals. To the ground bus. Not nearly as loud, is it? So I'm going to leave the ground disconnected when I do these tests. Okay, so sometimes what a difference a day makes. So after sleeping on it last night, I got thinking, you ever have this one overnight, you kind of come up with some revelations that may or may not be helpful. And it occurred to me that when I have the injector on the circuit, that I have the circuit breaker on. And I'm kind of thinking is that, well, maybe why don't we just turn the circuit breaker off, and that way the signal injection doesn't go through the breaker into the bus bar and to all the other circuits, and maybe I'll even have a little bit stronger signal. So we're going to go up on the rooftop and try again. Wish me luck. There, I can hear it. You hear it? Right on the path where we saw yesterday, so we're on the hunt. Just a little bit of signal right here. Well, I kind of get the idea it's about the same spot we saw. So it looks like we've got maybe about 6 inches here and a couple inches down there. Okay, let's take a look and see where those unit struts are going vis-a-vis the wire that's coming through for the air conditioner. Okay, here's where we picked up the signal there, so that's not going to give us a problem. And yes, there is coming through here, so I am not going to be bolting in this hole right here. I will be staying clear of it by several inches. And for those of you who are really sharp, what have I missed? You know what I've missed? Yeah, let's check the power wires, but what about the control circuit? Oh yeah, that's right. There's going to be some controls. We check the thermostat, the temperature, and that turns the air conditioner on higher or lower. So yeah, oh that. So I'm going to have to do another signal injection on the thermostat for those control wires. Aha! Okay, so I did go through the control circuit there and couldn't find anything. I did some checking. I did find something that kind of surprised me. There was a nicked wire from the original Fleetwood construction, so I did put some tape around that. Isn't that interesting? You see that copper piece? That means the insulation is missing off that. I'm not sure how it got nicked when they were drilling a hole or something like that, but yeah, that's not good to have uninsulated wires. So Fleetwood, people who did the installation, you could have done better here, couldn't you? I've got that covered up, so we no longer have the possibility of a short or something getting grounded out. So I think we're good to go. So I hope you enjoyed this, looking about our signal injector, how we put it into our distribution panel box here, and we're of course turned off our power ahead of time, and made sure that when we looked at the roof for where we're going to be drilling for the struts, where we're going to put down our solar panels, that we're not going to hit any electrical wires. So I think it's still probably a good idea to turn off your power before you start drilling up on the roof if you have air conditioners or other things there where you think power might be. And for sure, once you get through with the drilling, check to make sure that everything is still working, and if not, at least you kind of know where to go for where the problem might be. So I hope you enjoyed the show, and look forward to 8 Days of Christmas coming up soon to a theater near you. Thanks for joining us. Peace out. Bye for now. Happy trails.
Been to California, seen the sights and people there.